Hey everyone, it's Carter King. If you're an educator, a leader, or just a parent who wants to teach kids about space, check out my newest book, Carter's Journey Through Space. It's available now on Amazon, Target, and bookstores everywhere. Come explore the universe with me.
Welcome to another episode of the Contagious Culture Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle King, and the goal of this podcast is simple: to help you create environments where people thrive. Through real conversations, practical strategies, and powerful stories, we equip leaders, educators, and change makers just like yourself to build cultures rooted in purpose, performance, and authenticity. Because culture isn't something you talk about, it's something you live. This is the Contagious Culture Podcast. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of the Contagious Culture Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle King, and the goal of this podcast is to help you create an ecosystem, an environment, and in a space where employees thrive. Today, I'm joined by Jessica Wright, philanthropic architect, grant strategist, master public speaker, and program and management analyst at the U.S. Department of Education. With more than 20 years of experience, almost 2 decades of experience, Jessica has helped nonprofit organizations, businesses, and government services secure almost $8 million in grant funding. And she hasn't done that by chasing dollars. She's done that by building systems, building clarity, building capacity that scales. And in the conversation that we're going to have today, we're going to be talking about, why most grants fail before they're ever submitted, the cultural signals funders actually look for, and how leaders need to stop reacting to funding and start creating and architecting sustainability. Look, if you're an audience member and you're looking to lead a mission or leading a mission-driven organization, this is the episode for you. Jessica, how you doing?
Hey there, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. This is an exciting opportunity to have an amazing conversation with another amazing party in the same space. So I'm elated. I'm excited to be here.
Look, I appreciate you so much. And, when I get excited for conversations, we go all over the place. So I'm going to try to stay as focused and intentional as possible. And before we get started, who are you and what makes you tick to be able to do this work that you've been doing for so long?
Um, we'll start off with the basics. My name is Jessica Wright, and I am a philanthropic architect. And that means that I don't just think about the world of philanthropy, which is more than just giving to the poor. It's a whole ecosystem that has been developed and now cultivated by people like myself to be able to make sure that solutions are supplied to the masses. And that can look like so many different things. It could be arranged from building a well to giving you a plate of food, etc. And I feel like I am a part of the ecosystem where I get to be a free and creative thinker to be able to build things beyond generations. And my goal is to be able to make sure that my legacy lasts more than 2 generations.
Hmm. Why is that important for you to be able to create a legacy that lasts more than 2 generations? And where does that motivation come from?
It's important to me because I feel like we get caught up in fame and energy and popularity, and that's not real impact. Because I can say the wrong thing or be, caught doing the wrong thing, and you'll be turned off. But if
Mm.
I'm making real impact over the intentions that I have, over my, do-gooder attitude, and I want to save the world, real impact means that you'll be feeling my footprints. You'll be hearing my voice. You'll hear my footprints. You'll hear my voice beyond that, and it'll mean that your grandchildren will be experiencing and benefiting from the things that I've done. We can equate it to the civil rights movement. That the Montgomery boycott on buses was not about what was happening right then. Like technically, yes, it was. However, they were thinking about who we were going to be in 2025.
That's good.
So 50 plus years removed, they planted a seed. That legacy helps us today. So that's the kind of impact I'm trying to make. not my name on a building, not my name in an algorithm. Those things are nice. They're cute. They might generate a little income or revenue right now. But I want people hearing my voice for years to come, and not the echoes of my actual voice, but the words that I'm speaking. That's the impact that I'm looking for.
I love that. And it's interesting that you even mention names on buildings. One of my goals when I was in college was I used to always ask my professor, that's a mentor and friend now, Clayton Gibson. And I used to always ask him, Mr. Gibson, what would it take to get my name on a building? And at the time he gave me a number. So for my whole career, I focused on getting that number. And then I went to college and I recognized that the building wasn't even there anymore, that I wanted to put my name on. Wow. And it's interesting because years later, I started writing books because I heard a statement once that said, if your voice stopped working and you lost your heartbeat today, if your heart stopped working, stopped beating, and you lost your voice, what have you built that could speak for you? And I didn't have anything. So then I wrote a book. And then I recognized that book was telling a story and telling a framework, and it was the legacy that I would be able to leave on how you do X. Then 7 books later, I still have the same mission. When I complete a season, I write a book, and then I help the next person as they come through. Because it's my story, and my story has value. What would you say has been the most valuable piece and part of your story that has shaped who you are today?
The fact that I am worthy of all the good things that happened to me, and that worthiness is contagious. There is nobody that's in my orbit that is allowed to even continue to exist if they don't catch what I have. I'm a walking petri dish of good things. So I look better, I smell better, I feel better, etc. And so all those things are centered in how I move. And that was the core place, because there was a time when I did not feel worthy. I didn't equate who I was and how I showed up in the world as something that was viable, relevant, worthy of being seen further. I could not see past my own shame. I did not believe that I deserved good things, because there were so many unfortunate things happening. Some by, just life circumstance, and others were being intentionally inflicted. Either way, it did not matter. I had to change the beliefs about myself. When I made that decision, it was a firm, hard decision that was extremely uncomfortable, but the foundation of it helped to rewire my brain. Just like trauma can rewire your brain, the reverse, happiness, hitting goals, setting benchmarks, being kind and good to other people, all those things have the ability and the capacity to rewire your brain in the same ways. And so I had to make a decision that trauma and all of its remnants would no longer control how I functioned and showed up in the world. And then that evolved into, this Jessica right now.
This Jessica 2.0.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's interesting because a lot of those uncomfortable moments have probably shaped who you are today. And the mission, the vision, the beliefs that you have, just not only as a professional, but as a woman, as an individual. What was, though, an early lesson in your career that reshaped how you view, let's say, money or mission or even leadership?
That a lot of the big deals that I felt I was unqualified for started with the conversation. And when you're afraid to have the conversation, afraid to even knock on the door, forget walking through it, knock on the door and ask and see if somebody will even open it.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that I was doing, even in my initial fundraising spaces, it was because I was willing to tell a story. I showed up when people asked me to. That's how it started. And then I realized I could open some of those doors for myself. So being willing to have a conversation, knowing that if you don't have the conversation with this person and it go well, there are other people. We're not as unique as we think we are. So there are people with money, there are people without money. And those people with money, we elevate and pedestalize, and it's unnecessary. Yeah. There are people too. They just might have more access because of, finances and things, but they're people too. And there is going to be an audience for you. And I think a lot of people walk into it thinking, well, who's going to want to hear what I have to say? The first $150,000 that I raised was me telling my story. It was me saying, hey, I'm a single mom. I have a 3-year-old. I have gone through this program X, Y, and Z with this nonprofit. It has helped me do X, Y, and Z. I went into that opportunity or that situation that turned into an opportunity because I showed up as myself, my
Wow.
best, which wasn't to me that great, but I had something. I had a story. And I think that in grant writing, in the fundraising space, et cetera, we think it's pitch decks and things like that. We all know data, we know all that stuff. But the real receipts is your story. How do I convey what I'm saying? And I will go to these house parties in the Oakland Hills because I'm originally from Northern California in the Bay Area. And I will go to these parties. There'd be 6 people there. I bring my daughter. They give her coloring books and let her play. And they say, "Hey, Jessica, tell us your story." And I say, "Hey, I'm a single mom. I was married at 19, divorced by 22. Um, and I've struggled through X, Y, and Z, but this is where I believe that I'm going. These are the things that I see for myself. Being able to forecast and have enough confidence, even blindly, because no plan, no solutions. I knew something was going to come out of it. But
Exactly.
it was kind of this robotic repetition that these were the places that I was going. And I can honestly say proudly with integrity that I have met and exceeded every single one of those goals times 10. And I have to continuously make new goals because I keep hitting them. But it's belief in myself. So tell the story until you believe it.
Mm. I really appreciate you sharing that, Jessica, because there's somebody listening right now that probably missed it. Like, you don't need the pitch decks. You don't need all of these various things. You need belief. You need the courage and the boldness to knock on the door. And you need to show up authentically as yourself and have the courage to share out who you are, what you've been through, what you need, and where you're going. Because one of the things that I always talk about is that people don't buy from programs or from companies. They buy from other people. People invest in people. Even as I think about the Steve Jobs of the world or the Ray Krocs of the world, there was somebody that invested in that person, not just the concept that that person had. So if you want something, you have to be able to share that story. Let me ask you this, Jessica. In your experience, why do most organizations struggle, though, to secure or sustain their grant fundraising efforts?
Because they don't know their own story. A lot of times when it sounds like ludicrous, right? You're like, that's absurd. How could you not know your own story? The reason how I fell more into the capacity building space is because a lot of these organizations lacked the basic fundamentals. They got paperwork done, but they had no idea how to actually run a business, and they had no idea how to tell their own story. So, something that I like to call the big four is: who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? And how much money do you need? When you're writing a grant, when you're giving your elevator pitch, when you're having a regular conversation, hey, how's the weather? You should be able to answer those 4 questions in any way, form, or fashion. That should be your Bible. That should be on top of mind at all times. Most organizations, I say, "Who are you?" Well, I was born and raised in Boston, sir. Who are who are you? Who are you? And a lot of people can't answer that question. You get lost in your circumstance, your situation, your trauma, etc., and you forget that I'm telling a very specific story. And another huge thing that I don't think people realize or understand or dive into enough is the fact that everybody that's associated with your organization should know the story. I should be able to ask the CEO, VP, executive director, and the janitor, what is your big four? And again, you may not call it your big four. It might be your mission, your vision, your core values, etc. But everybody should know it. And another thing, since we're on it, I know you're about to ask me another question, but I just got to say this: your board should know your story.
Yeah.
Because your board will be important people, your auntie, your great grandma, your baby cousin's sister's best friend. And you're like, they just love me and they just want to see me win, but do they raise money? If the answer is no, start over, get a new board.
Jessica, you giving a masterclass right now. I like this. I like this. I think a lot of people, it's interesting because you covered a lot of things. And hopefully we hurt some people's feelings and then they actually reach out to you and hire them.
Character.
I talk to nonprofit executives all the time, especially founders, and I'll ask them. And I had a conversation with one earlier today, and I said, "What is your mission statement?" And this person wants to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. They want to be able to create change and do all these different things. And they said, "Hold on, we just changed the mission statement. Let me go look." And I said, "You don't know your mission statement? You don't know what your story is? You don't know where you're going or what you've achieved? How can we expect to be raising millions of dollars if we can't even understand our initial mission statement?" My question is for you. How do you get to a point though where you share your story? Where do you begin? Let's say if the grant proposal could speak, what exactly is it looking for? And how do I frame language to be able to get an approval rating?
Again, you need to be able to, again, who you are, what you do, who you serve. So before you get to the money, because people are like, I just need $1 million. Never
Yeah.
managed it, never touched it, never smelt it, never seen it in an account, never, none of that. You barely seen it on TV, but they want the money. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? So again, tell your story. So where did the idea come from? What was the seed that was planted inside of you that made you say, hey, I want to do this work? This is important to me. I work with an organization where the executive director found herself hiding in the bushes, naked, with a slit throat. Now, wouldn't that
Wow.
make you want to know more of her story?
Of course. I was waiting for you to continue.
Right.
That's
So she
good.
opened up an organization called House of Loving Hands because it's a place of refuge for women that are in those same situations.
Mm.
So if you call the police, if you end up in the hospital due to a domestic violence situation in the San Francisco Bay Area, and you call and say that you need help immediately, a lot of those other nonprofits that have 5, 10, $32 million budgets will say,
Mhm.
hey, call House of Loving Hands, because she will do what? Put you in a hotel for up to 48 hours as you get the care that you need, as you get match made with those larger organizations and get help, get out of state, be able to call your family, etc. We have, and because these systems are broken and we understand that, we have
Wow.
to make sure that these people have a place of refuge. So because of her story, she's building stories of others, right? And they
That's
can
good.
come to her, and you can come literally. One woman came in a hospital gown. Her hip was broken, got released from the hospital and sent to the train station. Didn't even have on shoes or socks. She was put up, provided outfits for at least a couple days, food, and shelter. That's the story. So that's who she serves. So who are you? She is a woman that was formerly abused, a survivor, a conqueror. What
Mm.
does she do? She assists people that are in emergency situations. You consider it respite care. They use that in the foster care system, where it's emergency care. You need to come right now. We can't wait. We don't have the option. The police station is not a domestic violence shelter.
Mm.
They're not going to provide the help that people need. The
Yeah.
social worker, unless they're putting you up in their house personally, cannot provide the help that you need. The hospital cannot provide the help that you need. You see how many gaps or holes that are
Exactly.
in systems? So she is a solution to a problem. So who she is, who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? We know who she serves. Those conquerors, those survivors. Now we get to how much money does she need? So you see,
Exactly.
we built the story, and then you build your program design on those components. And your program design is just saying, hey, this is how we set everything up. It could be outlined, it could be checkpoints, it could be, and simplify it. We overcomplicate it because we want something fancy. We want,
Exactly.
the PowerPoint that's going to swirl and spin and dissolve,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Unimportant if there's no substance. So being able to tell your story, but tell a compelling story. And your story is compelling. I don't care if you said, I used to just kick a can down a dirt road in the deep south
Oh,
in
you can make
Mississippi.
any story sound good.
Listen, but that's where I come in to help you to be able to build and tell your story in a way that is compelling, that's dynamic, that pulls you in, that makes you say, hey, like, what else?
Hey, it's Kyle. Sorry to interrupt your programming, but I got a quick culture check for you. How's your team's energy right now? I mean, literally, right now. Are people feeling inspired? Or are they just showing up? See, here's the truth. Culture doesn't change because we talk about it. It changes because we live it actively every single day. And that's what I help organizations do. Build contagious cultures that people actually want to be a part of. Through keynote talks, interactive trainings, and hands-on consulting, I help leaders transform the way their teams connect, perform, and grow. So if your culture needs a little bit of spark, let's light it up together. Visit theculturelab.org, again, theculturelab.org, or connect with me directly on LinkedIn at Kyle S. King to learn more about how we can work together. Because remember, your culture is contagious. Make it worth catching. Now let's get back to the program.
I should always leave you wanting more, because if you want more, then I'll always have more for you to get.
That's
Always have more to give.
Can we role play? Can we do like I'll be your client.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
All right. So what do you do? Who are you? Tell me some things about you.
I run the Culture Lab, an organization that we help grassroots organizations and schools raise $1 to $5 million and build a sustainable engine for fundraising.
Okay. And so why is this fundraising necessary? Like who's benefiting from this?
Ultimately, students. Why it's important to me is because as a former teacher, dean of students, board member, and school founder, I recognize that, yes, we can make change in the school as a leadership perspective, as a parent, or even as a teacher, but we can only go as far as the resources that a school provides. So I wanted to step out of the school and be able to be the person that provides unlimited resources for schools so that they can provide the best opportunities for students to succeed.
Okay, so how much money do you need?
Oh, I don't know. Let's say 5 million.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
So how do we get sure? So what would 5 million do for you?
That's a great question. 5 million. Let's role play. Let's keep going. 5 million will allow us to create. 5 million will allow us to be able to create a tech hub, because one of the things that we recognize with our students is that their engagement levels in the classrooms based upon data show that they're interested in entrepreneurship and technology, but we're not a one-to-one school. So we want to be able to work with a Best Buy that currently has tech hubs that we can implement within the school, but the investment would be a $5 million investment so that our high school as well as our middle school students can be able to leverage it.
That's pretty good. So is 5 million enough? Is that sustainability for 1 year, for 2 years, for 5 years, or for 10?
Now, my pushback to you, Jessica, and as we think about the audience, how do you know what sustainability looks like? And I appreciate you role playing with me. How do you know what sustainability looks like? Because I think that's where the problem lies with a lot of organizations.
Yeah.
They're only thinking about the now and that one program. How do you get to what is the psychology or the framework so that I can build something that's sustainable?
And so that's why I asked that question, because again, we're only thinking about our immediate need or what we could get right now. And we have to be able to think about our organizations holistically. And so that's why I asked that question, because 5 million for 2026 might be amazing. You're like, okay, yes, we hit our first goal. But what's your, what's the scalability plan for that, right? Because if we're scalable, so we're sustainable, right? And I'm thinking about 2 years, and then in 5 years, where have we grown? So if we started with a staff of 3, and then we grew to a staff of 7, and now we're at a staff of 25, what does that look like in regards to that part? Program development, or is there program expansion? Those are all the things that I'm thinking about when I'm asking those questions about sustainability. And if they don't have those answers, we begin ripping everything apart. I rip people's plans apart for fun, because I know that that is a part of it. Like, we're not thinking that far ahead. We're like, hey, I said 5 million, that should be enough. And that's plenty of money. As you know, $5 million is not really a lot of money.
It goes very quickly.
It will fly out of your hands. You're like, especially in tech.
Yeah.
So again, for the sustainability plans and I ask about how long that money will last and what you plan on doing with it, because again, that's the part we have. And then once we identify those gaps there, then we begin filling them with other mechanisms that might make that process a little bit easier for them to understand. And if they can't grasp that, we move back. I will reverse it in a heartbeat and say, okay, no, let's go. Who are you? We start over.
Exactly.
Because I don't want the money to become a distraction. My goal is for you to have longevity, but to be solid.
Yeah.
I don't care about you winning this and that. The past 7 days, I think one of my organizations has won $16,000. Have we won more money in the past in regards to this time of year? Of course, we won. Somebody called us with one call and said, "Hey, would you like 17,000?" Yes, we would like $17,000, of course. but in the past week, we've won 16,000.
Solid.
But it was through relationships. It was through good works. It was through recommendations. And again, relationships and recommendations were kind of one and the same. People saying, "Hey, I know of an organization. You should just give them the money. They're fine."
Exactly.
They do good work, but we had a reputation that was already established. And again, who are you? And if I know who I am, but you don't know who I am, then there's also another problem. So you see how there will always be additional questions. I remain curious in these spaces. And so how I help you with sustainability is for me to remain curious. Any gaps that I identify, we're gonna delve in. So sustainability and the psychology behind it is to make sure that we identify gaps, fill those gaps, and then find the next set. Because as we grow, as we build, as we access more funding. So what if you get the five, we find a partner or a sponsor or a funder that decides that they're like, 5 million is easy, take that.
Yeah.
What's next?
It's like
What's
now.
your plan? So year two, we got 5 mil. Year two, is that going to be 5 million $5, or is it going to be 7 million?
Exactly.
What is your next goal? What's your next step? And if you don't know, why not? And if why not, let's build a plan.
So let me ask you this. Let's focus on the why not person. Because I think there's a lot more why nots out there than the whys, because those types of people understand, they have metrics, they have sustainability plans, they have leadership ability to be able to grow, they have vision, they have clarity, they have a strong probably board. I'm sure there's some type of intersection or connection between people that have sustainability and strong boards and teams around them. Let's focus on the why not person. Let's focus on that person that has absolutely no idea what they want. Let's focus on that grassroots organization that just has a story, doesn't have any certifications in nonprofit leadership, hasn't been in any classes, doesn't understand how to assess a board. Where would you have that person start and walk them through kind of the step-by-step process so that they could potentially raise their first $1 million or $100,000 to be able to grow their organization?
First, I would again go back to that big four. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve? How much money do you need? Answer those questions for me, because those are my favorite. And those are my favorite. Those are the ones I make sure that I give time to. Those grassroots, those nonprofits, what we would consider like a mom and pop, those small businesses, because I work with for-profit businesses also, but mainly nonprofits. And get them to answer those questions and then get them outside. We are only as good as our community. We are only good as who we connect with. And one of my golden rules is that we do not have competition. We only have contemporaries. So find somebody that's doing the exact same thing that you're doing, but doing well, and go partner, go volunteer in their organization. Ask what you can do. Roll up your sleeves, get outside, go to networking events, go meet your chamber of commerce, go to city council meetings, go put pressure on your local legislation. Anybody running for city council, other local businesses that do different things that you do. I have something also called the 3-2-1 method. So 3 people that are like you, that are in your lane, cross section, cross sector, 3 people that are completely different. So if I sell cakes, you need to be selling pies. And then it's 1 me. So 3 like me, 2 not like me, and then 1 me, right? Just to make it easy. And do that math every day. Have a conversation, get in somebody's DMs, go outside, meet people. Relationship building is the key, because like I said, with the 16K that we just won over the past 7 days, half of that was because of relationship. People advocating for us in rooms that we weren't in. People having conversations and recommending us and saying, hey, that's a good nonprofit. Give them that $300. Give them that $10,000. Give them that $1,000. Hand it over. If you got to get rid of the money, I know a place you can give it really quickly.
That's good.
Finances in good standing. Because all the basics, if you're working with me, all the basics will be done. You're going to be sending with the IRS. We're going to make sure that we are paying our taxes or doing our reports and things. I mean, doing your reporting yearly or by every other year. You're making sure that stuff is done easy. But can you tell your own story? Can your board tell your story? Can you identify who's a contemporary in your space? Have you built any relationships? And if you haven't, when are you going? That's my next question. Is it tomorrow? It should be tomorrow.
We still got time today.
Right. Like you can DM 10 people in the next hour. Let me know.
Literally that easy. I was reading a case study. This was maybe 2 years ago. I was reading this case study, and it was mentioning this leader that was wanting to give to a specific school, and they $1 million gift that they were preparing to give. And they went to the school as somebody that was looking for a school as a parent. They dressed up just kind of regular. This person had millions of dollars, and they wanted to talk to the front desk. And then they were asking questions similar. Hey, what's your story? What makes your school different? They met with a student. They met with, I think it was the custodial team, and just various people outside of leadership. And then they reached out to leadership after the fact. I think it was a month later. And once they met with leadership did their due diligence. They met with the gentleman. And at that initial meeting, the gentleman communicated that your story as leaders is completely different than the stories of your school. I actually came here, and it was a powerful case study about the power of unity and alignment, of everybody should be on the same page, saying the same thing, be driven by the same drum. What's a small shift in thinking that could dramatically change how leaders approach grants and the fundraising process as a whole?
I'll have to go back again to being a broken record. You need to have relationships. You're only as good as your contemporaries. If you don't know who your competition is, and again, I don't believe in that word for real, but who are your contemporaries, then you won't know what's happening in the current social landscape. We all have our own communities. If you play pickleball, if you play video games, if you're in the nonprofit space, if you're a project manager, all of those things have their own little circles. Exactly. And if you are actively not participating in those circles, you are actively putting yourself in a space where you're cutting yourself out of millions of dollars. Millions. And sometimes billions. It just depends.
Exactly.
But also, when we are too humble, I call humility a bad habit.
I agree.
Humility is a bad habit. And we wonder, well, I just feed the poor. Nobody cares. You being humble is not getting you noticed. Get outside, get on the internet, let people know who you are, what you do, who you serve, and how much money do you need. Would you like to donate today? Would you giving them an opportunity? Because some people are looking for a place to put their money.
It's not a matter of how good you are anymore. It's about how many people know you. Because if you're very, very good, you may be the absolute best at what you do. But if you're not noticed, then it's pretty much the same as you being bad at what you do, because no one's going to come to you.
Correct.
What are things that you believe that people can do to be able to get noticed? Let's talk about that person that is working a full-time job, that's wanting to transition to running this nonprofit organization full-time, but just may not have the time to be able to transition. What would be your message to that person?
Well, I'd have to put on my project manager hat in this vein and do time blocks. So there are ways to be able to set yourself up to be able to knock out social media, which is a huge component of our current advertising, especially if you don't have the funds to be able to hire a social media manager. Do a time block Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. from 6 to 8. That is when you do your social media. You can front load on LinkedIn 5 posts for the next 5 days that will run with some type of traffic, and make sure that you have everything that you need for the people that are looking for you specifically. Your audience is out there, but you're not looking. Also, in regards to, again, time blocks for doing videos and things like that. And then you can afford to update your website. Make sure that there are mechanisms inside your free social media that we all have access to.
Exactly.
Where they can donate. You can put a link. So if you got a donation link, put that link in your bio. Put that information in your bio. Make sure that there's an available email address. Make sure that there's something where people can contact you, where I'm not searching because of social media. Our brains are not wired any longer to go do deep dives and go look on microfiche to be able to look for something. Some people, I just lost y'all right there because y'all know what microfiche is.
I don't even know what microfiche is, Jessica. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I used to go to the library back. Now I ain't that old, but listen, you used to have to go to the library back in the day and look things up like old newspaper clippings. Now you can Google it, right? But people aren't even willing to Google it. And if you don't show up in ChatGPT because you have no digital footprint, people will miss you. So using time blocks. So 6 a.m. on a Saturday, 8 p.m. on a Sunday evening, every day at 6 p.m. after you finish your day, treat it like it's one of the things that's going to pay you. Act like there's $500 attached to that habit.
That's good. That's good.
And then the next thing you know, you'll look up and you'll have that $500 in other forms that is connected to your visibility digitally. And then also once a month, make a promise to yourself. Because again, lie to everybody else. And I'm being so for real. Lie to everybody else. Do not lie to yourself. If you know that you're not going to keep certain promises to yourself, don't make them. But keep a promise to yourself to go to one networking event a month. And it doesn't have to be a mixer. You got to put on a blazer and those uncomfortable heels or those those hard bottoms that pinch your baby toe. And go somewhere where it's people that you want to connect with, and do the same method. 3 people that are like me, 2 people that are not like me, 1 me, right? Find those people in that room. So when I'm networking on LinkedIn and stuff like that, I find people that are in the fundraising space, but also talk to newscasters, boxers, welders, anybody I could think of that is just completely random and the opposite of anything I'd be interested in doing. I'm never going to be a boxer.
Why is that important for you, Jessica? Like, can you talk to, because oftentimes we only want to either connect with people that can pay or directly contribute to what we're doing, or people in a similar space to us. Talk to us about why it's important to have a variety of people in our network.
Because community is important. We are not good alone. We are not good by ourselves. And it'll guarantee that you're not approaching that person just to get something. And good. A lot of us don't operate like that. They're like, oh my God, they're a funder. Let me go in their DMs and say, hey, oh, I need $1 million. Girl, nobody cares. I don't. I wouldn't. You know how many people tell me they want to sell me their book, but have never spoken to me?
Never.
And $7.
It's not even a hello. It's just straight to the sale.
It's like, hey, so if you want to buy my book, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. And for me, like I'm always like setting up discovery calls and like, hey, let's chat. Let's really get to know each other. Not because I'm trying to get anything, but I'm like, you seem like you would be an amazing part of my community. Can we be friends? Can we connect? And so you want to put yourself in that same vein that, again, of course, we need people that are like us, but also people that are just different and a lot of my recommendations, a lot of the referrals that I've gotten has been from the welder and the boxer and the construction worker.
That's good.
And the accountant. They're like, hey, I'm also, when we're showing up in these spaces, this is just a little asterisk. When we're showing up in these spaces, understand who you are in that space. I know that because I'm a money person in certain people's eyes, everybody wants to know a grant writer. Even people that already have money. So I show up like I belong there. Hey, I'm a part of a dynamic community and I am intentionally pulling people in that I feel like will add to it. No, we don't do the same thing, but how can I be of support to you? I end most of my calls with, how can I support you? How can I do something for you? Because what is mine is always going to find me.
That's good.
Always. It's always going to find me. I have so many examples. That's why I'm smiling. So I walk into these spaces, understanding my worthiness, understanding that I belong there, understanding that I add value to any conversation, and understanding that community is reciprocal and I get to give. It is a choice and a gift and an opportunity to give. And it's always going to come back to me. I don't function in desperation, only confidence.
You spoke to me so much in this episode, just so much in this conversation, because I haven't been outside in a little while. Now, I have done well with finding myself in digital communities. So that I don't even have to leave the house. So I'm a part of a community that meets every morning at 7:30 a.m. It's a group of around 200 entrepreneurs on there. I even do some hosting in there Thursdays and Fridays. I have communities that I'm able to connect with. And I'm super active on LinkedIn. I'm connecting with potentially 30, 40 people on a daily basis and engaging with various people. If I'm doing it online, do you still recommend, or do you still see the value in doing in-person events? Or either way is important?
Either way is important, but there's nothing like human connection. Seeing somebody smile in person, getting to bump elbows or shoulders, giving somebody a side eye because you both saw something the same. It's nothing like that. And the inside joke is like the best, and it connects the best when it's in person. And that's how you build the camaraderie that you need. Over the weekend, because I am a program and management analyst in a federal space, I am a project manager technically. And so I'm a part of the Professional Black Women of Houston, and we're all project managers. We're all Black women. We met on Saturday just to be in each other's space. And it was so enriching. It was a recharge. And we've been communicating, and we haven't met since our vision board party in January. Wow. And we met in December, and everybody was like, oh my God, I didn't know how much I needed it. Yeah. It's something like that human connection, that energy. And although I have done extremely well in the digital space, I still need human connection. I still need to be outside just a little bit. So that's why I said commit to one time a month, because you can check it off a list. If your month is crazy, you can say, hey, at least I did that. And again, it's a promise to yourself. It's not because you're doing something for somebody else and blah, blah, blah. No, go for yourself. Don't break promises to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. But again, the digital space is amazing. The digital space is how I got my TED Talk.
Let's talk about it. Can we talk about that? Is it out yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We can talk about it.
Tell us about the process. Tell us about, what you even spoke about and where we can see it as well.
Okay, so my TED Talk hasn't happened. It will be debuting. I will be giving my TED Talk January 10th, 2026. But the selection process was, again, based on community. So I just mentioned the Professional Black Women of Houston. And we'll do lunch and learns. We'll do these little seminars here and there talking about different things. I'm usually talking about grants. I've done grant classes for them and things like that. But a lot of the ladies were getting a lot of rejections from jobs. And they're like, hey, we noticed that you have so much confidence. How are you navigating this space? What are you doing? And I said, baby, I'm networking. And how I was able to talk about networking is because I did my own personal case study. I decided that I was going to hop in DMs every single day on LinkedIn specifically. I got the premium plan, but I started before I got the premium plan, right?
Wow.
So for free. And I'm just a minimum of 5 people a day with that 3-2-1 method that I mentioned. Yeah. And I had a template and said, hey, I'm intentional about my community. You seem like somebody I should know. Let's have a conversation. Here's my Calendly link, 10 minutes at a time. That resulted in 1,200 conversations, give or take. So sometimes I was having 4 conversations a day. Sometimes I was having 10 or 12 because they were only 10, 15 minutes max. Because I'm a conversationalist, I bring light in any room. Hey, let's talk some more. Can I get on your calendar? Can I purchase a consultation? Can I do that? Can I? I'm like, you sure can. That turned into, I think, an extra $15K in revenue. Just randomly. I mean, it's more than that now, but it initially started and people were like, hey, well,
just by connecting.
Yes. And they were like, hey, I can't use your services right now, but can I purchase 10 of your consultations for someone else? I'm like, you sure can. And that grew and grew and grew. And so I was telling them about that. I taught a networking class. I'm in my networking class and I'm just, being myself. I'm, in my little groove talking about my things. And someone was saying in the chat, hey, so when is your TED Talk? And I said, oh, it's coming. This was February 21st, 2025. And I said, oh, it's coming. And when it does, I already have my title. I already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about and just be ready for me. Literally 9 months and 1 day, I got a call saying, congratulations, you've been selected to be a TEDx third word speaker in Houston, Texas.
That's amazing.
And so it's happening. And so I spoke that into existence. Some people call it manifestation. Listen, all I know is that it's happening. But it was as a result.
Like, I don't care what you call it. All I know is what is that.
The person who recommended it to me was someone in that networking class. And she didn't want to do the TED Talk. She was just like, have you heard about this? I assume you already know. I was like, I sure don't. And I'm going to sign up. Literally signed up. And literally everything just happened like that. And so I'm going to be talking about the 1,200 conversations that I had and how being open to networking can put you in rooms that you never thought you'd be able to get into.
Jessica, this has been phenomenal. We're going to have to run it back too.
Absolutely. Just let me know when. I had a great time.
We got to make this happen again. Where can we find you and how can we support you as well?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn as Jessica Wright, RSM, because I'm also a registered Scrum Master. Hello, project manager here, first and always foremost. And also, if you'd like to email me, website is under construction, of course, because we're preparing for our TED. So you can please feel free to email me at mygrantgold, which is the name of my business, mygrantgold@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know you would like a discovery call and you want to introduce yourself. Again, I love this. This is what makes me happy. This is what gives me joy. This is what is establishing and sustaining wealth, not just for my generations, but for 2 past me. So I cannot wait to meet you. I cannot wait. I'm excited. I'm elated that you're going to be connected to me soon.
So I'm going to pitch you live. Why not? I'm going to pitch you so that it's real. Okay. 2026 October. We're working on the date. But you're going to be the first to know. I guess we just talking. I'm not even supposed to be talking about it on a podcast. But whatever.
Newsflash, you're a
Look,
hot potato.
when it's yours, you can share it whenever. Why not? I want you to be a speaker at the 2026 Contagious Culture Conference. It's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it more offline, but I'm going to pitch you live because it's harder for you to turn me down live. Look, this has been such a phenomenal conversation, and anybody listening, I want to just ask you one question for you to even consider. When leaders stop chasing money and start designing systems, what becomes possible for the mission is that you give people the opportunity for lives to be changed. If you don't put yourself out there, if you're not bold in sharing your message, if you're not courageous in being authentic in who you are, if you're not expanding your network and connecting outside of the people that look like you and do the same work as you, then it's challenging for you to be able to create the type of success that Jessica has. If your board, your team, your assistant isn't clear in the mission, the message, and the why, then it's going to be challenging for you to be able to raise that 16,000, let alone that 16 million that you want to be able to achieve. If you don't know your big four, then I want you to be able to reach out to Jessica. I want you to contact her on LinkedIn, schedule that 10 minutes, pay her for her discovery call. And before you do all of that, I want you to ask yourself a question. What type of culture are you spreading? One of the things that we always talk about on the Contagious Culture podcast is the energy you bring is the culture you create. Make yours worth catching. It's another episode of the Contagious Culture podcast. I'm your host, Kyle King. I'm here with the amazing Jessica Wright, TEDx speaker. And we'll see you all next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Contagious Culture podcast. If this episode challenged or inspired you, hey, take a second to share it with someone who's building culture in their world. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps more leaders, educators, and change makers just like yourself join the movement. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or YouTube at Kyle S. King for more tips, tools, and methodologies to be able to help you create this ecosystem of absolute excellence. Until next time, lead boldly, live intentionally, and remember, your culture is contagious. Make it worth catching.